News. Today we're going to delve into a very interesting topic, and what we're going to be speaking about is a component of relationship capital, and that is empathy. Empathy is actually a stance of power. It is sometimes difficult to believe, but empathy is surely a stance of power. I might read a few things today because I want to get the words accurate. And when you hear it, I want you to maybe close your eyes and just listen to the words and let it settle in to your mind and your thoughts. So, the definition of empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings, emotions, and perspectives of others. It involves being sensitive to the experience of others and being able to imagine what they might be going through. And I'd like to take us back a bit to just only 3 years ago, when we experienced probably one of the most treacherous and most unwelcoming epidemics and pandemics that we've ever faced in the globe, in history, and it was COVID-19. But when we come back to the current day, we kind of don't see any fragments of COVID-19 any longer. However, we feel the effects of it still today. And when we look at a very small component of mental health, mental wellness, these are the kind of things that are creeping up now. However, we have never experienced it before, or we might not have recognized it, but we always dealt with it. We always had a solution for it, but we maybe didn't have a name for it. So I'd like to quickly share a few things that I believe where we can combat mental health issues with 3 key decisions that we need to make in order to cancel mental health issues but operate in a mental wealth state. And these 3 things is have a vision and know where you're moving towards. Let your vision and your purpose collide. So have a vision and understand your purpose and what it is that you want to do with your life. Secondly is we are unhappy with what we are currently doing. So stop, pause, drop and roll if you would like, but look at what you are currently doing. And if it is making you unhappy, then maybe make a change. Do something different. If you are stuck in your home every day, all day, maybe step outside and take a walk, enjoy nature, and enjoy the things around. And then thirdly, do not allow yourself to go into a mode of comparison. Comparison is probably one of the most dangerous decisions you can ever try to make in your entire life. Because what comparison does is you are causing yourself to put yourself on a certain level which you have no experience in. Putting yourself on a level with someone else that has no idea you're comparing yourself to them. And comparison inherently has certain side effects. And the side effects is a nasty attitude. Another side effect is that you become resentful towards people that are ahead of you. And once we sort of make the decision to stop these kind of traits, we will combat the issues of mental health and we will operate in a state of mental wellness. And as we move along, we understand that empathy is now a stance of power. And there are a few things where we can see empathy being a stance of power act out very profoundly. Because we understand that empathy is the ability to share and understand the feelings of others, to put oneself in their shoes, and to respond to their emotions with sensitivity and compassion. While empathy is associated with kindness and emotional intelligence, it can also be a potent tool in various contexts and providing advantages to influence some situations as the following. And these situations we find ourselves in probably every day. If you're in business, if you're in work, if you're in media, if you're in teaching, you will find yourselves in those situations. And that is leadership. Leadership, this fosters trust and loyalty among your employees and leading them into increased productivity and the cooperation of your department, of your team. Conflict resolution. This enables them to find a common ground, to reach a mutual understanding, to find a solution to this conflict. Because essentially, conflict is sometimes not even based on truth, but based on your opinion. And then, negotiation. Empathy allows us negotiation to grasp the underlying interests and emotions of the other party, leading to more successful and harmonious negotiations. So negotiations don't need to be stressful, it doesn't need to be high intensity, it can be pleasant if we understand empathy towards another person. Sales and marketing. This can be a very powerful tool in sales and marketing as it helps professionals understand their customers' needs. And who knows, when you understand your customers' needs, you are profiting like no one's business. When customers understand, or when customers feel understood, they are more likely to engage with your brand or your product. And then conflict prevention. Empathy can prevent conflict, as we previously mentioned, from arising in the first place by promoting better communication and understanding among people. So, this thing called empathy is not just a tablet, or it's not just a pick up and go, but it's a real trait that we can foster. It's a real trait that we can conjure up and journey and help us journey to building better relationships, which is the last situation. And empathy allows individuals to form deeper and more meaningful relationships and connections, leading us to stronger relationships. And who knows that strong relationships is what we need. Strong relationships leads to us increasing our relationship capital. As we know, that relationship capital is vitally important in this time and this space that we are currently in. So the true empathetic power comes from genuine care and understanding for others, with intention, firstly, or most importantly, and creating positive and mutual beneficial outcomes. Empathy is a very powerful human trait, and it allows us to connect with others, right? Which is important because we don't necessarily want to be friends with someone and we cannot understand them properly. So we understand their feelings and respond to them with compassion. It plays a vital role in building strong relationships and fostering effective communication, creating a more empathetic society and supportive society. And how is it that we are going through this journey of empathy and the stance of power, and we're looking at empathy being a very important human trait, and we can see ourselves effecting empathy in our life and really having someone feel better about themselves, feel good about being who they are, feel good about being where they are. And when you are empathetic with people, it inherently enriches you. And that's the power of this thing called empathy. So we like to think that empathy is a one-stop shop, or relationship capital is just one component, but there are many components to it. And empathy is just one measure of being better at relationship capital or increasing your relationship capital. And as we go on this journey, we will delve into more of relationship capital so that we may understand how to foster better relationships, how to build better societies, how to build better communication in our workspaces, how to build better and more effective relationship with customers and clients, and inherently lead to profit. And this is how we will join communication and business and marry the two in order to get to that point of profiting better, leading the economy better. And this is the topic for today. This is what we have set out for today. And I'd like to thank you for listening to this conversation about empathy being the stance of power. We'd like to take out some time quickly just to answer a question that was asked on our social media. And the question that I got from our production manager is it important to have capital when you start your business? And it's a very good question, and I'd like to answer that question like this. So, capital derives from the word capitas. Capitas is a Latin word that means knowledge in the head. And if you look at it nicely, knowledge in the head can be your idea, it can be your thoughts about what you want to do. So the fact that you have an idea about something is inherently capital. So the very first point is that we need to acknowledge that when we have this thing called capital, we need to nurture it, right? The idea. We need to put a plan in place so that this measure of capital can lead to another measure of capital, which is your physical capital that you need in order to procure assets, to procure certain things in order to get your operations up and going. So I hope that question was answered and it makes sense. And if you would like to have a bigger conversation about this concept of capital, you are welcome to pop us a question on our social media, and we will gladly answer you privately or on one of our next episodes of Dee-Boor. So thank you for listening to this episode. I am AJ Stewart. I am living my dream, and I hope you decide to live your dream too. Thank you, and we'll see you on the next episode in 1 week's time.